Before the episode starts, I just wanted to make a quick announcement that I won't be launching a video on Good Friday because I don't think anybody should be on YouTube on Good Friday. They should probably be praying, but today's episode is about Saint John Bosco's youth, and it was filmed earlier in January when it was quite cold, so I hope you enjoy it. When Saint John Bosco was 19 years old, he made friends with a boy named Louis Comollo at school. Don Bosco later wrote, "I can truly say that thanks to him, I began to live as a real Christian." But because of his virtue, Louis was frequently attacked by bullies at school. Saint John Bosco defended him, once even fighting off several attackers. This was an admirable feat of strength and virtue because he was protecting someone weaker than him. But how in the world did he win in a fight against so many people at once, while barely even breaking a sweat? We'll hear all about his clever strategy in today's episode. The Miracles and Prophecies of Saint John Bosco, a project of America Needs Fatima. I'm your host, Matthew Miller. Subscribe for new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Happy is he who finds a good friend. We read in the scriptures, "A faithful friend is a sturdy shelter. He who finds one finds a treasure. A faithful friend is beyond price. No sum can balance his worth." From the book of Sirach. John Bosco was to experience this happiness when he met Louis Comollo. He wrote, "At the beginning of the scholastic year in 1834, while taking the course of rhetoric in Chieri, I happened to be visiting a boarding house. The landlord was saying, 'I've been told that there's a saintly student expected in town.' I smiled, thinking he was speaking in jest. 'No, I mean it,' the landlord continued. 'He's a boy of outstanding virtue. His uncle, a priest, is also well known for his saintly life.' I didn't attach great importance to these words, but this news awakened some lively expectations among my companions in the rhetoric course. I wanted to meet this youth, but didn't yet know his name. I was to learn it very soon, however, thanks to a remarkable event. For several days now, I had been observing a boy of about 15, a student who behaved so modestly as he walked through the streets and who spoke with such charm and courtesy to those who addressed him that it filled me with wonder. Now it was customary among students to joke and indulge in horseplay in the classroom while the pupils entered, particularly among the wilder ones who were the least interested in their studies. They would invite this gentle-looking boy to take part in their hijinks, but he would always excuse himself, explaining that he wasn't good at it, not skillful enough. Nevertheless, one morning, one of these fellows approached him while he was absorbed in a book, paying no attention whatever to the uproar the others were making around him. It's interesting to note here that later on when Saint John Bosco ran the oratory school, he didn't allow his boys to roughhouse outside of field games. No unnecessary contact off the game field as a sign of respect for each other. Maybe it was from witnessing this incident, for the bully, taking him by the arm and shaking him rudely, demanded that he take part in their horseplay. "No thanks," said the youth quietly, greatly embarrassed. "I don't know how. I've never played such games before. I would only look very awkward." "I don't care," insisted the bully. "You have to join us, because if you don't, I'll kick you and beat you until you do." "You may beat me if you wish, but I don't know how. I can't, and I won't." Upon realizing that the boy had no intention of giving up, the bully gripped his arm, shoved him, and then slapped him twice across the face. The sound echoed through the classroom. I was disgusted at the sight and felt my blood boil. I was afraid that the victim would give that insolent companion a taste of his own medicine, for he was much older and stronger than the aggressor. But instead, the boy displayed another kind of spirit. Imagine my surprise when the youth, his face still scarlet and smarting from the blow, cast a look of deep compassion on his assailant and said, "If this makes you happy, you may go now that you have had your way. I don't care, and I've already forgiven you." His heroic gesture reminded me of the words I had heard about a saintly student who was expected in town. I asked who he was and where he came from. And then I at once realized that this boy, Louis Comollo, was the very same boy whose virtues had been praised at the boarding house. I can hear you shouting into the screen, but when did Saint John Bosco beat up the Bullies? Just hang on, I'm getting to that part. But first, if you'd like to enroll in our Saturday Mass intentions for the promoters of Saint John Bosco, just click on the link in the description below. Or you can click on the Mass logo that should appear at the end of the video. John and Louis were alike in everything that related to virtue, but different in character, which turned out to be a great recipe for a friendship that was never to slacken for the rest of their lives. He was studying the humanities and therefore was a grade below me, Don Bosco wrote. But we were in the same school and had the same teacher. From that time on, we were close friends, and I can truly say that, thanks to him, I began to live as a real Christian. I put all my trust in him, and he put his in me. We needed each other. He gave me spiritual assistance, and I gave him physical protection. Because of his great shyness, Comollo never even attempted to defend himself against the insults of his rougher schoolmates. But they respected me, even those who were older and bigger than I, because I was very strong and not afraid to take them on. This was made all the clearer to them one day when several of these bullies planned to annoy and beat up Comollo and another harmless boy named Anthony Candello. I decided to intervene, but no one even paid attention to me. "Whoever keeps bothering those two had better watch out," I said loudly. Thereupon, several of the more brazen and strong among them assumed a threatening and defensive stance toward me, while another dealt Comollo 2 resounding slaps across his face. At that, I completely forgot about myself. Brute force and not reason was now moving me. I couldn't grab a chair or a stick because there were none, and so I grabbed one of them by the shoulders and used him as a battering ram against those bullies. I knocked 4 of them to the floor, and the others lost no time in taking to their heels. But that wasn't all. At that very moment, our teacher entered the room, and upon seeing arms and legs waving wildly amid a terrible din, he too began to swing right and left to restore order. The storm was about to burst over my head too, when he stopped to ask all the cause of this commotion. After I had told him, he wanted me to reenact my defense. It amused him greatly, and he began to laugh. Everybody else joined in, and no further thought was given to the punishment I might have deserved. John told this story with admirable humility. It's easy to understand how he must have felt when he saw this innocent boy being so maltreated. Who would not have reacted as John did? Deliver the oppressed from the hand of the oppressor. Let not justice be repugnant to you, as it says in the book of Sirach. Furthermore, John undoubtedly exaggerated his account of this incident when he said that brute force and not reason was moving him. All his schoolmates who told us about his youth were unanimous in describing him as a model of gentleness and forbearance, and we know how he patiently endured being beaten and insulted without retaliating. After the description of the scuffle in the classroom, Don Bosco in his Memoirs continues as follows. "Comollo taught me many other lessons. John, he said to me as soon as we were alone, your strength scares me. Believe me, God didn't give it to you for slaughtering your classmates." Years later, Louis and John would study together in the seminary. These two friends were so close that they eventually made a pact that whoever died first would come back and tell the other if he was saved. As it turned out, the good Louis Comollo died long before John while they were still in the seminary. If you'd like to hear about how Louis Comollo came back from the dead and appeared before Saint John Bosco, just click on the video above me here. Oh, and don't forget, if you'd like to enroll in our Saturday Mass intentions, just click on this other link over here. God bless you, and Our Lady keep you.